This holiday, instead of giving them something nice, why not gift them somewhere nice? During the IHG Hotels and Resorts Cyber Sale, you can do just that and save. Shopping is easy in the IHG One Rewards app, where you'll save 20% on travel across 6,000 plus global destinations. And if you want to gift yourself somewhere nice, go ahead. You'll earn more and save more during the cyber sale. Check out all the deals at ihg.com/cybersale. Terms apply.
Wake up at Holiday Inn Express to a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. Count on all the hot, fresh coffee you need and an incredible breakfast buffet that has something for everyone, like eggs, cinnamon rolls, and even hot, fresh pancakes with all the toppings you crave. Next time, do yourself a favor and stay at a Holiday Inn Express with a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. So, when you wake up at Holiday Inn Express, you'll wake up happy. A part of IHG Hotels and Resorts.
If you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to patreon.com/truecrimewives and get lots of great extras. On the Good Wife's Guide to True Crime, we discuss crimes that some may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
With no home and Gypsy Rose battling both muscular dystrophy and leukemia, the St. John's Aurora team went to work securing this rent-free home for the family and cleaning it up.
It is overwhelming. You can never dream it in your wildest dream that so many people would just so generously come and help us and love us and just welcome us.
For Gypsy Rose and her mother, the move brings a sense of security, a new town, and a new home that has welcomed them with open arms.
It just proves that happy endings are not just in fairy tales. They're real and true in real life also.
They couldn't drag me back to Louisiana kicking and screaming. I'm here to stay. We're home.
We've taken a long road to get here, but our journey has finally arrived in Missouri. This is the part where I think things took a crazy turn, and it's been the hardest part for our team to reconcile. When we started off, nobody on the team believed that Gypsy had taken willing part in any of this, but as evidence shows otherwise, we've had to reevaluate this thought process. It's been hard for us, and many times I think we thought we were crazy, but the evidence just began to mount up. There's a 2-year gap where no medical records can be found, medical records that make absolutely no sense, partnered with the interrogation video and Gypsy's current actions, and it's become a vastly different picture of what happened than what we originally thought. Where are you at in your thoughts this time? We'd love to hear your ideas and comments. Hey folks, it's time to grab your glass of wine because the Good Wives, Fancy, Colleen, and Christina, are about to serve up another true crime case.
Thought of something. How many days until you get married?
Oh yeah, how many days, Colleen?
5, 6. Saturday.
Where are we?
Saturday. Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
5
Thursday,
days.
Friday,
Oh my
Saturday.
God.
5 days. Oh my God, 5 days, Colleen.
I know. You have no idea how crazy my
Hey,
brain
come
is working right
on.
now.
You're gonna wear a big fancy white dress.
So I'm real bougie because we're having 2 weddings. I've got 3 total dresses.
Oh,
I've
nice.
got like a really simple, pretty, like, but white dress for this one. And then at the wedding in the summer at Irish Fest, I've got this huge, pretty white lace dress. And then I've got a change out dress. And it's like sequins, and it's awesome. I'm so excited for it.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so cool. I got
real
married
bougie.
in a maximum security prison. So he was wearing state greens, and I wore a army fatigue hoodie, a tight fitted hoodie with a black skirt and black knee-high boots. And his mom was there, and another inmate was the best man.
Solid.
So I love when people get married and I get to see the dresses. Like, that's my favorite part because I didn't get a real wedding dress.
I got married in Vegas, and mine was I wore a white dress. It wasn't big and poofy or anything, but we got married in Vegas at the Excalibur. So we got married by
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
A garb robe and everything. Yeah, it was crazy. So yeah.
That's cool. Well, then we split up a year after he came home, so I never got my real wedding.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I really wanted the dress. No, I'm so excited for you, Colleen.
My brain is seriously going 1,000 miles a minute.
Can you is there a way you can live stream it so me and you can be there?
Right?
Like, guys, we have a special tonight. One of our ladies, she's getting married.
Yeah,
we get exclusive access.
A Zoom meeting, and you can just put me and Fancy on a chair.
Yeah, that's right. That's totally it. We would totally do it.
But we're excited. Tim's pretty much like, well, he just has to show up at this point.
Right.
That's the instructions I've given.
The instructions I've given. I love that.
I got the marriage license is all done, taken care of. We met with our best friend Zach, who's he's officiating.
Oh, that's so cute. Did he go to like a online thingy to get it?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's official Church of Life.
Horrible.
And he's literally known us before Tim and I even started dating, and so he's really, really good. And then we've got I've got all my stuff ready to go. Getting manicure done on Thursday. And then Saturday morning, I'm getting my hair done. So it's.
Are you going with up or down for your hair?
Down, pretty much just like what my hair looks like in like my profile picture on Facebook, because I'd never get to have my hair that pretty down.
Yeah.
And my hair will frizz, but so when it's down and curly, it doesn't look as bad. Versus when it's up and frizzy, then it gets weird.
Okay.
But I bought Tim his tie and got his suit ready to go. The only thing he's been having to work on is his vows. Which which he's stressing about, but
what's he stressing about?
His vows.
Oh, did he not write them?
He is. He's stressing about them.
Aww.
Because like all important papers in high school and middle school and college, I wrote or proofread, and I can't do that here.
Oh gosh. So you guys met in junior high school, you said?
Yep, we met the beginning of 8th grade and started dating December 7th of 2007. Yeah, 2007.
Wow, that is so cute. That is super adorable. Like I met my husband in 8th grade, but I didn't like him. Like was it 8th grade, 7th grade? I don't remember if it was 7th or 8th grade. I just don't remember. But I absolutely couldn't stand him. I literally thought he was the biggest dork on the world. So yeah.
Yeah, Tim's always been my nerd.
Tim's always been your nerd.
Mm-hmm. We actually, kind of like acquaintance-wise, we knew each other, but we were in the same history class in 8th grade, and due to a seating assignment chart, he got put sitting next to me, and we ended up doing a project on the Civil War together.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, like, you had to like write a document, and so we like totally went all out for it. Like we dipped the paper in coffee and then in dirt and then burned the edges of it, and like totally went all out on making it look like it was from the 1800s.
Yeah. Did we meet in 7th or 8th grade, babe? 7th grade. See, I didn't like him enough to remember. After winter break, 7th grade. There you go, guys. See, there's the official from the man.
Well, and we so we did this project together, and so we were a little bit like flirting, but I had never had a boyfriend before. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anybody would ever like me because I was, curly hair and kind of chubby and a nerd and kind of outcast, but so was he. He wasn't chubby. He was actually super skinny. He was like 85 pounds and like 4'7".
Oh my goodness.
He was really short and tiny and skinny.
That's funny.
But then it was like the winter dance in 8th grade, and Zach went with another one of our friends, and I just kind of went solo. Tim went solo, and eventually Zach got Tim to ask me to dance, and the rest was history. But our song is like one of the worst songs for a relationship, because that song was "Apologize" by One Republic.
Oh.
And it's a breakup song.
That is terrible.
But so we actually, for Saturday, we've got just the instrumental version, and that's what I'm going to walk down the aisle to.
Are you really going to walk down the aisle to a breakup song?
It's just the melody. Most likely nobody will know what it was except for me and Tim.
Right. But it's just the first song you guys danced to slow, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, mine with my hubby was Lady in Red. So yeah. I saved him. Okay, so I totally thought he was a dork. And he was a dork. And but I met him in 7th grade, thought he was weird. And he made fun of me because I was wearing a Smurfette shirt, and one of our friends that had known me for a long time was standing with him. And so I immediately, literally did not like him because he was with that guy, and that guy had driven me crazy for years. But Craig started to make fun of me, and Shane looked at him and was like, "No, dude, not her. In 6th grade, I had like sat one day because he had driven me absolutely insane. Shane had. And so I sat all day sharpening pencils, one after the other, until I had like a huge stack of pencils, and I just like shoved them into his like leg really quickly. And he screams out, and the teacher's like, "Mr. Taylor, what is going on?" He's like, "Nothing. I'm fine. And he's like picking out the pencils from his leg, And so then in 7th grade, so Craig's standing with that guy. So I was just like, that guy, So I immediately hated him. And then he obviously made fun of me for my Smurfette shirt, which didn't help his cause at all. So then in high school, he dated one of my really good friends, and I was just like, "Why are you dating him? He's such a dork." And she's like, "I don't know. He's so cute. I love him." I'm like, ugh. And so then we all were in military ROTC, and she went with him to the ROTC ball, but she broke up with him at the ROTC ball. Like, what a total bitch, right? And so one of my friends and I saw him, and he was like very down, and I was like, "What is wrong with you? This guy's normally like off the wall crazy and like, always really over energetic, and this guy's standing here and he looks really depressed. What is going on?" So then I went and like went over to him and I'm like, Craig, what is your problem? And he's like, Laurel broke up with me. And I was like, oh my God, at the thing? Yes. And then he tells me who it was for. And I was like, oh, that guy's disgustingly ugly. Why? So then I like danced with him for the whole night. And so did my friend Dusty, and we saved him. And so the very first dance we ever danced to was Lady in Red. And then he tried to say in our senior year, he wrote, or he dared me that he was going to kiss me for the end of the year because he would ride his bike down to my house every day.
This holiday, instead of giving them something nice, why not gift them somewhere nice? During the IHG Hotels and Resorts Cyber Sale, you can do just that and save. Shopping is easy in the IHG One Rewards app, where you'll save 20% on travel across 6,000 plus global destinations. And if you want to gift yourself somewhere nice, go ahead. You'll earn more and save more during the cyber sale. Check out all the deals at ihg.com/cyber sale. Terms apply.
There's a new travel agency in New York City. That's right, a travel agency. But we specialize in journeys of a different kind. We're Union Square Travel Agency, and we sell cannabis. Visit us at 13th and Broadway or unionsquaretravelagency.com and clear out your overhead compartment, because an open mind is your boarding pass. For use only by adults 21 and older, keep out of reach of children and pets. In case of accidental ingestion or overconsumption, contact the National Poison Control Center. Consume responsibly.
And like, I wasn't allowed to have guys in the house or anything. I wasn't really allowed to have anybody in the house, but sometimes I did. But never Craig. I just never let him in. And so we were always in the laundry room and in my garage, and I would not let him in the house. And he was like, I'm going to kiss you before the year's over. I'm like, no, you're not. And so then he wrote in my yearbook, he's like, I guess you won. If you don't remember what I said, then, whatever. And then a couple of years after high school, we ended up running into each other at the mall. Literally, his friend almost ran me over with a truck because I came up to about the top. He had like this big full-size old Chevy truck. And I came up to literally like the edge of the hood. And so he saw me out of his peripheral vision and screamed out. And then that was the rest of it was history. We got married very quickly after that. So that's our crazy love story. And we got married in Vegas, like I said, with a guy dressed in full like Renaissance garby like thing. It was so really funny. Crazy. It was crazy. That's cool.
Really funny. Tim and I have just been. Tim is my first boyfriend, and he was my first kiss. Like, he told me he loved me after 2 weeks of dating.
Aww.
Like, because we would talk on the phone every night for like an hour and a half and just play music to each other. And he would write me these cute little love notes, and I still have all of them. And one of them, he always typed them out because his handwriting sucks. And so one of them, he quotes himself, like cites it like a paper, like, you are the cheese to my macaroni. Parentheses, from Juno. Yes, he did. I will send you the pictures.
That's so cute.
But then he would wait for me to, like, after school and before I got on the bus, we'd always give each other a hug goodbye. And then one day, like, it was on our 1 month anniversary, like, he like snuck a kiss on me and then just like walked away, and I had to get on the bus. And I'm like, what just happened? What? I don't. What? But it was,
so cute.
The rest was history.
He's
my baby.
That's funny.
And I can't gonna be his wife in 5 days.
In 5 days. I'm so excited for you. That is so awesome.
Most of the people who know us don't know we're getting married. Surprise.
Oh my.
It's going on the Christmas card.
Well, it's going in the podcast, so they're going to know now, Colleen.
Well, unless they decide they're not going to listen to the 2 hours of us ranting. Most of them probably don't.
Right. Well, we got to talk about a new freaking, we get to talk about a crazy new relationship coming up here. So Gypsy and her beau, Nick, so, let's talk about
story of
all time, right? I mean, good Lord. But I mean, so we've left Louisiana, we're arriving in Missouri. And I got to tell you, it gets really crazy from here, guys.
If you didn't think it was crazy already.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right. It gets real crazy now. So, But speaking about like getting married in prison, I mean, that's kind of funny that you did, Christina, because we were talking about Gypsy doing that with the now non-fiance, but at the time fiance. And what was one of the things that I had said to her was, do you really want that to be your wedding? Like, is that what you really want after all these years that you've been denied everything else? Like, is that really how you want to go down with this? You know, I'm like, and I even said, it was like jokingly, I was like, even Nick wanted to give her a wedding in the snow. I mean, like, you know,
right. She wants to be this princess fairy tale story. Like,
right.
That doesn't happen when you're wearing black and white striped scrubs here.
Yeah, no, totally.
That's what always surprised me, is I thought, like, the way she searched for that fairy tale, I would have thought she would have wanted to go all out for her wedding when it finally did happen.
Right. And
she could invite TMZ to her wedding and totally blow up paparazzi it if she wanted to.
Well, I don't think she wants to do that, but
I would.
Which I mean, yeah, totally, she could have, but I don't think she wants to do that. But I just couldn't understand the mentality behind it, especially after so much wanting the fairy tale. This is the exact opposite of the fairy tale, you know, wanting to do that. But we're going to get into that a little later. But tonight we're going to be talking about Gypsy and Dee Dee's arrival in Missouri, how they got there, what happened, how they got the Habitat house. And then we're going to talk about her meeting Nick, the internet dating, you know, all of that, and the beginning of that relationship. And then obviously we're going to do a couple nights of medical once we get past the initial starting of this, and then we'll head on into the murder itself. So you've got a little bit of time here in Missouri. And it's like we said, it's an interesting story once they make it here. Things change medically. I think that things change a lot medically. But I mean, I think the medical stuff changes once we get here in Missouri. It's very different. It's not the same.
It really isn't the same.
And the fraud goes through the roof. I mean, it is like, let's defraud every single person in the whole wide world that we can think of, you know. So we'll see that. And then we'll talk a little bit also about the similarities between the Slidell, what we talked about last time in getting that Slidell house and the Habitat house. And you're going to hear the clips of them talking, of Gypsy and Dee Dee talking about the Habitat house. And if you'll listen, and then you go back and you listen to the part about the Slidell house, it's very, very, very similar. It's almost scripted. Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. In every episode, we like to serve up a special dish from the state that our crime takes place. So here's our resident Cajun Mama Ty to tell you what our true crime dish of the week is.
Okay, guys, it's me again, Cajun Mama Ty. As you all know, we are following the Gypsy and Dee Dee case, and now we're heading out of Louisiana into Springfield, Missouri. As I researched the area of Springfield, I wanted to find a recipe that was easy and originated from that area. So Fancy and I put our heads together and found this awesome recipe: ooey gooey butter cake.
Between the years of 2005 and 2007, there's not a whole lot of details of what goes on in Gypsy and Dee Dee's life. We'll just talk about the fact that there's not a lot of details between this period of time. Like, we don't really know what happens for these 2 years.
It's like a lull.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information at all. There's no records between these two periods of time. There's nothing, literally. She ends up at the lodge, and then We don't have anything in 2006, right?
Nope.
That is so strange.
It's really strange. It's like the
Where
one
did she go?
time I don't know whether they just decided that, because there's that lull where they don't have to convince an entire community about her fake illnesses, but maybe it was just like it's such a, not a pack, but it's like transient location.
Yeah.
That they could didn't really have to convince a lot of people because they are coming and going as well.
Well, one of the things that I think about when we talk about like the fraud increasing at this time and the medical stuff kind of decreasing.
Yeah.
I kind of think like, was Gypsy really rebelling at this time? Like, you know what? I'm not fucking doing this anymore. I'm not going to continue. And maybe her mom was like trying to keep her doing it. But I wonder if the time where we don't really see anything, was she in like a battle with Gypsy to try to get her back on board almost? Like,
that's a good theory.
Did she start realizing like, you know what? I don't want to live this way anymore. And I'm not going to continue to live this way. And did she try to talk to her mom and say, you know what? We've been doing this for years. I think it's time to stop. I'd like to, get out and live a normal life. And her mother said, absolutely not. And did it become like a battle between them where Gypsy wouldn't cooperate?
Well, Gypsy did.
If she's in a wheelchair and you're forcing her now to go to a doctor, now there's the real concern of, damn, she doesn't want to do this anymore. She's rebelling against it. Is she going to fucking jump up out of this chair in the middle of the doctor's waiting room and start screaming? Like, I always wonder about that. Like, was there a battle going on in the household?
I know that Gypsy does talk about a period of time of real rebellion, and that they had a lot of arguments for a while. It's not really clear when that started, but
that's why when people say Dee Dee met Nick and Dee Dee knew about Nick, that's what makes me really think about that. Like, was it a battle where, well, I'll give you a little bit of freedom, but we're not, you can't do this. So go ahead and talk on the internet to him. But it's never going to be, I don't know. It makes me really wonder, like, was there some kind of, almost like now that she's older, stuffed animals and dolls and Disney World is not going to, she's not going to be content with that anymore. She's a grown woman and she wants to be a grown woman. Like, what, was there any kind of like almost a bribery? Like, all right, you know what, we can do this, but we can't just stop doing this. We'll go to jail.
Right. Because what year is, what year is this period of lull? 2005?
So 2005 to 2007 before they get the Habitat house. So that's from 15 to 17.
Yeah.
I know
prime age of rebellion.
Oh yeah, I mean, because a normal kid will rebel at that time, right? So I mean, why wouldn't she?
And could the Habitat house could have been what brought her back on board? Like, come on, we're about to get this house. This is, this is it for us. We're going to have something that's ours, and you just have to go along with it a little bit longer. Come on, Gypsy. And did that get her back on board to get that humanity house because she couldn't do it without Gypsy on board?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, you gotta think, even though Gypsy, like, even though she looks younger and Dee Dee makes her act younger, it doesn't stop the actual growth process and the hormones going on in her body. And that is natural at that age, to have all of that, and especially if she doesn't understand it, because she certainly wouldn't understand it based on what Dee Dee would or would not have discussed with her.
Yeah. Right, there was no health, education course to understand your hormones and your body's development.
Right.
I also kind of think about, like, with the ramping up of the fraud. I think on some level, Dee Dee knew she was running out of time somehow. Whether that was Gypsy just not having it anymore, or was it, okay, like you said, you can't stop. I can try to stunt her growth as long as possible, but eventually I'm not going to be able to pass her off as a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old. So I think on some level she knew that her time was going to run out eventually. I don't think she thought it would be the way it did, but I think she know on some level that this is not going to last forever. So let me get as much out of it as I can while I still can.
Right. Well, she had to. I mean, because with having Rod around, like, see, if she had just left and never had Rod around, it would have been easy for her to keep picking up and starting over. But the fact that she has Rod and he's giving her, he is giving her $1,200 a month, and she can't just go and be like, oh, well, Rod, she's dead. Like, so I mean, I do think you're right in the fact that there was time running out there because, she set this all up, but the end game is really, really muddy in what was she going to do, because you like we've talked about repeatedly, you cannot have a 12-year-old child for.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
9,000 years. It's not going to happen.
And especially with all the media exposure.
Right.
Oh, right. Like, they just were in front of the camera way too many times in the public eye that there was not okay, well, Gypsy, you can go live your life, don't say anything. Like, people knew what she looked like, especially in their area, even in the, few state area. And she's a noticeable looking person, being so short and so tiny with the high-pitched voice and her face. Like, she would have been noticed wherever. Right. And even when she went up to Wisconsin, people knew, and they hadn't seen her before. So she wasn't going to be able to not stand out. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
Once you saw her in like an interview or in a newspaper article, it was hard to forget their story.
Right.
It's heart-wrenching story. This mom, she's devoted. Her daughter is so sick, and it's a heart-wrenching story. It's hard to forget them.
Yeah, I mean, so she's airlifted out of Louisiana, and that was by the Angel flight. So there's your first big scam, with the Angel flight, because they became a massive part of their lives. It's not just like from Louisiana to, Aurora. It would airlift them from, Springfield to Kansas City anytime that she had to go down there. So they became a really important part of this whole thing with them. And she ends up in the Hope Lodge. Now, that's an interesting story. I mean, here we go. Interesting story number 952 of this saga. So to stay in the Hope Lodge, you have to prove that you actively have cancer. It can't be that she's in remission, or unless she's in remission from something that she's being currently treated for that has to do with the cancer. To stay at the Hope Lodge, you have to currently have cancer, or you have to be treated for, like, in remission, you'd have to have been treated for what cancer you just had. So you're still having like some ongoing stuff.
Yeah, like a maintenance therapy.
Right. Otherwise, you can't stay in the Hope Lodge. That's the whole point of the Hope Lodge. So she can't prove this. So what does she do? She ends up getting a doctor. Well, not a doctor. Funny thing. She gets this dentist that specializes in cancer dental treatment. And she gets him to write the letter to the Hope Lodge to prove that she has cancer and is being treated. And that's never done. Like, why they accept that, I have no freaking clue, but they do. And that's how she gets to stay at Hope Lodge.
It's just not fair to all the families who have actual sick children.
Right.
Who need that kind of facility to stay with either their kids or the kids being there, or the families who live hundreds and hundreds of miles away, but their kid is getting treatment there, and it's thousands of dollars.
It is. It's lots of money.
It's one thing to be a thief, but when you're a thief and you steal from
sick kids,
it's a whole other level.
Well, see,
it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And here's the thing: you wonder why she's not at Ronald McDonald House. Well, see, the thing is in Louisiana, she was thrown out of a Ronald McDonald House at some point in time for fraud. So I'm wondering if that carries to all Ronald McDonald houses, and they're all notified, and she's on a list, and nope, sorry, we can't give you. So she had to come up with something else. And like we've always said, I mean, Dee Dee's pretty damn freaking crafty. Who would think? Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll go to a dentist. And I'll get him to say that she has cancer because he's treating her with his with dental caries and all the different stuff that happens from radiation. And what?
That's fraud on the dentist part as well, because giving someone dental work is not treating them for oral cancer.
Mm-mm. Well, and he wasn't even providing like dental radiation or removing tumors or cancerous lesions in her mouth.
Mm-mm.
Like, it was just pretty much he signed a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and saying that, I am treating her for cancer. No, Dee Dee, you frauded the Hope Lodge way too many different ways. But then this dentist, you have committed fraud by saying that you were treating this girl.
Right. And I've never even heard of this. Like, I didn't even know that there was such a thing of like a dentist that specializes in something to do with cancer. Like, I have never heard of that. I didn't know. I don't, have you, Colleen? I mean,
I have for certain different kinds of cancers that can develop lesions. A lot of times for some respiratory cancers. A lot of people will get like a tumor in their jaw and require a part of their jaw even removed. And so it's having to take some teeth out and do very targeted radiation and treatment.
Right. So it would be for somebody with mouth cancer, not just regular cancer. Like,
no,
cancer is not going to cause her to have problems with her teeth, right? I mean, that's
right. Her, quotation mark cancer of acute lymphocytic leukemia that was in remission since she was 5, and now she's 17. She would have no business seeing a doctor or a dentist for radiation or chemotherapy with her teeth. Yeah, because radiation it affects, and if you don't do targeted radiation to specific areas on the body, so say you have like a cancerous lesion on your lower back, like skin cancer wise,
right?
They can, cut it off and then do some targeted radiation therapy on it. But if it has spread, that's when you start doing like the chemotherapy, so it does your whole body,
right?
But I've seen it with people who have cancer in their head in general, whether it's brain, sinuses.
That's what my husband was just saying, is his sister, she had cancer when she was a little girl, and she lost a lot of her teeth and everything because her cancer was in her eye and in her face. And so she lost half her face and most of her teeth because of radiation. But not from just whatever radiation, wherever, like, no.
Right, no. And again, because Gypsy had never had treatment for cancer because she didn't have cancer, it was just complete lies and bullshit because she was fine. And yes, she has a lot of fake teeth right now, but really that's not anything to do with cancer at all. And like that dentist who signed these papers was doing like dental rehab for people who have lost their teeth due to cancer or having to take teeth out to remove certain lesions.
But he's not doing that for Gypsy, so
no,
God knows why he signs off on it. But he does, and she gets to stay at the Hope Lodge forever and ever, amen. Like, she stays there. They do get a house in Aurora. There is some sort of rental house that they end up with that I think the hospital actually helped her find, the social worker through the hospital helped her find, and she was there for a little while. And then they go ahead and apply for their habitat house. But during this time, there's no big surgeries done. There's some basic testing done during this stay. And again, nobody is catching on to the lies and the fraud. And she stays in the hospital for a while, doesn't she, Colleen?
Oh, yeah. She stays in the hospital for a few months at a time for unknown reasons on the why through that. Maybe a sporadic ER visit that turned into an admission and like, oh, let's just monitor. You know, mom said this and this. We don't have a ton of records. What we do have is a couple of different photographs of timestamps.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, yeah, she was most likely in and out of the hospital, but she never had any big surgeries done. She had just a very small amount of different MRIs or CT scans, some lab work drawn, but basic lab work. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing, oh my God, scary. It just, she's just there for no reason.
Right. And we see her so we see some stuff in 2005. Then we see absolutely nothing. There is no records anywhere that we have looked. And we have gone from Kansas City to Aurora to Springfield for all of 2006. Nothing. Literally nothing. There is no records anywhere. And I don't know if that's because somehow those were purged, which I highly doubt, because I don't think that they would purge 1 year and not the other years, you know, like, I just don't see them purging 2006 and not 2005 and not 2007, you know? So I really don't know we just don't know what's going on during this period of time. It's kind of crazy.
It's like the absence of records is more strange than the abundance of weird records, because, you know, prior to 2005, we've got boxes and boxes of files. And then 2007 and onwards, we've got the same thing, but the types of procedures and testing is different, but it's still the fact that 2006, we've got nothing.
Not even one record.
My theory is that because they were in kind of a transient stage of their housing and staying while at the Hope Lodge and kind of nomadic in a way, but that so many people were going in and out that she didn't have to kind of keep up this crazy lies, because they were just going to leave again. So
I don't know. The problem that I have with that, though, is the fact of how she got there was by telling them that she needed chemotherapy. And I don't understand how she arrives and then it's like, oh no, we don't need it. It's fine. We're fine. She's fine. You know, I don't understand. I literally don't understand that. And that is one of the biggest parts where I have a big question mark over everything of like, okay, so how did this happen? Like, I understand other things. Dee Dee convinced them of stuff. There were tests, Okay, fine. Even though the test came back weird, but there was stuff being done during this period. She gets this flight to Missouri based on this whopper of a tale. You know, and this is where we first start seeing Gypsy's head shaved, because before that we hadn't. When she was in pictures in, you know, in Louisiana, there is no shaving of her head. She had it very short many times, but not to the point of shaving it all off like she does from Springfield on. And from 2005 on, once you see her in the Superdome getting her head shaved, that's it. Then her head is shaved for the rest of eternity. And
it's like trying to keep up, you know, the lie. Like maybe they would go, because when you're in like the Hope Lodge and like Ronald McDonald's house, like it's kind of like you're in a hotel where that, you know, it's not, a doctor is not coming personally to your room to escort you to your medical services.
Right.
It's like you travel, you know, across the street or to the bridge, whatever, to go to the doctor's office. And so I don't know if, you know, every other day or every day, Dee Dee would take Gypsy in a wheelchair and, you know, be like, oh, yep, we're going to a doctor appointment today. And maybe instead they just like went for a stroll or went and
Well, they could have
got
also taken her
food
somewhere else, and those documents could be showing that she doesn't have the things that she says she has, and so she does not ever give them to anybody, and nobody would know where to look.
yeah.
So
because in 2007 is when we started seeing more of the sporadic name changes and
Now,
birthday changes.
As of note, at this point in time, Beckerman has his license, but it's not in Missouri, Kansas City. It's Kansas City, like Kansas City. She could have been going over the border, and because she's in Kansas City, she could have been going, and I don't know that we've looked there yet. God, I didn't even think about that.
Well, it's because trying to follow the trail of Beckerman.
Yeah.
Is because somehow he just decides that he's going to continue seeing this patient from Louisiana to Missouri.
Right. And that's the first person she ends up really seeing in 2007. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they were doing something from 2005 to 2007 on the other side of the the border there. And then once she gets her habitat house, it's game on,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
They were like kind of gearing up, storing up, what are we going to say? What are the lies? Let's rehearse this.
Yeah.
Maybe they spent that year just sort of like being like, this is it. This is the show. We're doing it.
Right. I mean, maybe she gave Gypsy, the option to, you can have this one lull of time and then we're, that's it. I don't know. It just seems so strange. So.
It's strange.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
Cake is such an easy recipe and very similar to a cheesecake. And OMG, it is delicious. First thing is to make sure you preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Next, you want to combine the cake mixture, butter, vanilla, and eggs into a mixing bowl and stir until it's nice and creamy. Next, pour the contents into a 9x11 baking pan. Once the cake mixture is made and in the pan, the next step is to do the cream cheese mixture to go on top. You want to combine the cream cheese, eggs, and vanilla and mix with an electric mixer until you're getting peaks. Then you slowly add in your powdered sugar, a little bit at a time. Then you want to take the cream cheese mixture and pour it on top of the cake mixture and bake in the oven until it's golden brown. Serve this by itself or with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. OMG, it is so good.
Ty, another great recipe. For the full recipe that was shared tonight, join us at our exclusive membership club at www.patreon.com/truecrimewives. So now we're going to talk about all the different rumors that have been out there. We're going to try and debunk some of those, give you facts of the case, and from the bus pass to, running around on the streets and hooking up with men asking for them to kill her mother. So we're just going to kind of get into all of that right now.
I always found it hilarious how people online were insistent that was like a bus pass that she used to get out at night and sneak around and go meet men and have sex and just have a blast while her mother was sleeping. And Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, just having any freedom that they're in the Habitat house now. So this is the cul-de-sac is the pink house with like way too many of the wheelchair ramp. So everybody knows Gypsy at this point. And this girl is not sneaking out of her house with a bus pass for the city and just getting picked up on the side of the road and then traveling all over the place having sex with strangers.
Right.
Yeah, especially
Nobody saw that.
from that neighborhood.
Well, okay, so I mean, they get this house, and the way that they get this house is a friend. So in the last episode, or I think it was last episode, we talked about the Kylie family, and that Gypsy and Dee Dee lived with them for a time period, and basically told them they were homeless, and the mother thought that she was being poisoned. Well, so the son, Mike, he is the one who actually helps her get this Habitat for Humanity house. They stay in contact with her when she moves to Slidell, and then they stay in contact with her when she moves to Louisiana, or when she moves to Missouri. And so he helps her because he has a friend who actually works for Habitat House. So he contacts Dee Dee and tells her, hey, there's this program. They'll help you get this house. They'll build it for you. It'll be a brand new house for you and Gypsy. You should really apply. And so she does.
Before you go on, for anyone who's listening that doesn't know how Habitat for Humanity works, when you say they're going to build the house for you, you don't mean they like a construction company, or you mean they, the actual community of people that live there, are going to come together and give their time and their hard work to build this house for you.
Right.
Because you have a disability or some type of condition, right?
Well, yeah, and on top of that, so Habitat, way it works on sweat hours. So they have a community. The entire community is a Habitat community. So everybody in that community is a Habitat recipient. So they've all been given houses for whatever reason, whether they're, they've got disabilities or they are really, really down on their luck and they applied for it. At one point in time when I was really, when we were going through a lot of period of time where we didn't have a lot of money, we applied at one point, but we didn't end up qualifying based on the fact that my husband made too much money, just right above the line. And so there's a different bunch of qualifications, but when you get approved, one of the things that you have to do is put in a certain amount of sweat hours, is what they call them, on another person's home. So that's how the homes get built. They get built by the community. And obviously there are Habitat workers too, but there's volunteers, and it's largely based on volunteers. Now, the thing with Dee Dee and Gypsy is because they were so disabled, the community actually, not only did they build their house for them, but they offered to put in the sweat hours for Gypsy and Dee Dee on another home, so that because Dee Dee could not do so and Gypsy could not do so.
And it's so nice. My great grandma volunteered for many different organizations, and growing up I helped her a lot, and I helped build a Habitat house when I was like 6 years old. I went and volunteered with my grandma.
So cool. I think it's an amazing charity. I really do.
And it's hard work. So like it's literally from the ground up, you are building a house.
Yeah.
The whole works. You have plumbing, you've got electricity, everything. It's got to be done.
Right.
So I think it's really important for people to understand that when you look at this rumor of Gypsy was out of her house at night, wandering through the neighborhood to get on a bus, and these people are going to be seeing that and be like, oh, that's fine. That's Gypsy from with the wheelchair, but she's walking and we see her every night, but we're not going to say anything, even though we're the one that did all the work for their house and we put the sweat hours in.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And it's been rumored that there's a person that said, oh yeah, we knew it was Gypsy. My kid knew it was Gypsy. And I didn't say, no, I'm sorry. These people are people that are very, very, very much in love with the fact that they have Habitat houses, and they support Habitat, and they appear at every function, and they're always there to support the Habitat for Humanity people, because they know what they have been given. And if there was anyone, I mean literally anyone in that neighborhood who had any idea whatsoever that they thought that there was something not right, there is no way that they would not have turned her in. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. They would have been like, okay, well, I saw her, very noticeable woman, girl, up running around every night, just getting on a bus across town and coming back like a walk of shame.
Right.
That they would either call the police or they would call Dee Dee.
Yes.
And
well, I think they would have called Habitat as well. Like,
yes,
we are concerned. We don't know what's going on over there, but something is going on. You know, there is no realm of possibility that she is just out running around on the streets of this neighborhood and people are noticing. Now, I do believe, you know, there is a story. She did escape the one time. She, you know, she went several houses or several streets over, and she knocked on a door and asked for help. But those people were far removed from her, so they did not know who she was, because that was where the Habitat housing had ended, you know. So it's not the same. It was further. And she did that the one time. Now I can see that if it's really late at night, 2:00 in the morning, which is what it was the story, you know, that she ended up on their doorstep in the middle of the night and she's asking for a ride. Please help me. Okay, I can understand that. Now, I still think that's kind of crazy that somebody was like, yeah, all right, I'll give you a ride to the hospital, little girl. Like, I don't understand that. But
call an ambulance.
But absolutely, I can understand that, you know, that could have happened one time, but over and over and over again, all the time, and that somebody would have seen it and said, oh yeah, there was a black car. Oh, give me an effing break. No, that is not happening.
No, the fact that, yes, and so I talked in the last few episodes that I used to do home care, staying at my girl's house every day. So she would go to work. She worked with other disabled people in like a Goodwill kind of setting. Right. And every day in the morning, she would have like a Transit Plus bus come pick her up in her wheelchair, which is the county's bus system for disabled people, where they go to their houses and pick them up, and they have to pay. They're like have cards specifically that are reduced fare, but it's a system like that, so that way they don't have to catch the public transportation bus,
which is what Gypsy had.
Yes, and so they had that, but that would be for usually almost exclusively. There's like a time period during the day to early evening, and usually, and especially in Gypsy's case, there would be a chaperone included. Yes. And so Dee Dee would have been with her. It would not have been Gypsy's calling this Transit Plus bus for her to be walking around sitting in the chair instead of a wheelchair and getting dropped off at, you know, some guy's house to like prostitute herself.
Right. Well, and the other thing is when that bus pass was first brought up, you know, I had not seen it. And if you had not been looking through the crime scene photos, looking specifically for it, you would never see it. But once I did see it, I began to investigate what it was. We looked it up and we tried to find out all the different all the different like regulations and everything and what it entailed, you know. And she could ride a regular bus, but the bus system in that small town does not run all night long. So there's no way that she would have just been able to leave and then come back, because there would have been no way back. The buses stop running at like 9 or 10, I think was the last one. And then it doesn't run again until 6 a.m. So where the hell would she have been able to go and come back? There's no way on earth that Dee Dee would have let her out of the house that long, nor could she have drugged her mom that long to wake up, you know, and be like, oh yeah, I'm back at 6 o'clock in the morning. I left at 9. No, hell no.
No, and the public bus system, it does not pick up right in front of their house.
No, it does not.
She would have to then walk, because she's not going to wheel herself to the bus stop and then get out of the wheelchair. Right. So she would have to walk to that bus stop, which is a few blocks away, and then, walk back, and to try not to be seen. And there are people in that community who, you know, work night shift, who work evening shifts. Right. Like, it's somebody.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
100% somebody would have seen her if these rumors were true.
And it's not like the bus pass is a picture of Gypsy as a regular person in a wig or whatever, which is what I thought I was looking for. You know, I was like, okay, so I'm going to look this up, and what I'm going to find, if I find this bus pass, it's going to be like Gypsy in her full wig and like, you know, but no, it's literally Gypsy in a little muffin hat, you know, like, with her little cute little muffin hat and like I'm Gypsy. It's not freaking, you know, like Ruby, who is out, right? You know, it's not her with a knife sticking out of her. Good.
Right, it's not Candy wearing a rainbow
bra,
wig and bra.
Yeah, and a rainbow wig. Like, seriously, it's literally Gypsy. So her mother would have taken her to get that, and it would have been highly regulated. And just, for the love of God.
Right, it is strictly rumor.
It is strictly rumor. And, you know, the Habitat House, so like I said, so Mike helps them get this Habitat House by he's helping, you know, he sends her over, she does the application, he doesn't hear from her for a little while, and so that's while she's in Aurora and nobody knows what's going on, because he said it was a year or two that he did not hear from her, and then all of a sudden she says, oh yeah, they're gonna get me the house, they're gonna build it here, but they're not going to send me back down to the bayou like we wanted, so this is home. In that clip, you know, you hear the exact same type of conversations that we heard from Slidell. It's, oh, this community, and they've taken me in, and we're home, and it's the exact same script. And it's not just from Dee Dee, it's from both of them. It is an absolute script.
There's a training, like they're studying for a play, and they have to recite this. It's pick word for word.
Almost exactly word for word, yeah. And I mean, yeah, when you're watching the video and you see Dee Dee hold her hand, now we've talked about that. She is always forever holding Gypsy's hand, or has an arm around her, or has her hand on her in some way. Now that's a control issue. That is you think it's sweet and loving, and it's not. It's not sweet and loving. What that is you do what I tell you to do, or there are, you know, serious consequences.
Right.
It's a control issue.
Light squeeze if you're doing okay. Hard squeeze if you need to shut your mouth.
Yeah, and Gypsy said, you know, she has talked about that her mother would squeeze her hand, or she would, you know, pinch her or whatever it was if she was saying too much, you know, and so then she would know to shut up. But yeah, it's a total control thing, and you see it all throughout the whole time. She's never more than an arm's length away from Gypsy, you know. So again, bringing us back to these crazy rumors, I just can't see it.
No, as much as, you know, there is that whole rumor about the bells on the doors. Like, well, there's no evidence of any bells.
Actually, there is.
Well, there's a few.
There actually is. It's written in the report, in the discovery file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that Dee Dee would never have allowed Gypsy really that kind of opportunity of freedom.
No, never.
Like, I'm going to leave a stack of your bus pass right here on the end table. Gypsy, you know where it is. You know how to get out, you know, XYZ steps.
No.
And it, you know, available to her. I'm surprised there wasn't, you know, that bus pass wasn't locked in a safe.
Right. No. And exactly, you know, and there is a lot of that. There's so much in this time period that shows that she was very controlled at this time. She was controlled in her relationships with Aaliyah. She was not allowed to get close to Aaliyah. Anytime Aaliyah did anything that was remotely out of what Dee Dee wanted her daughter to be doing, Aaliyah was banned, and we see that, and Aaliyah will testify to that. Aaliyah's talked about that. There's the whole smashing of the computer when she escapes the one time, and she's and that was seen by everybody. So that's you can't refute that. Now you can refute whether or not she was chained up or not. Nobody knows, but I mean, if you go through the process of what we really know and what we don't know, I mean, it's very likely that is a true story in some way.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I do agree with Christina that possibly there was an agreement of, okay, well, I'll let you talk to people on the internet, and that's fine, because she just figured, oh, well, they're thousands of miles away. What the hell can they do? And possibly, maybe we can fleece some of these guys for money and help and, whatever. I can definitely see that being okay with Dee Dee, but I cannot for the life of me see anything else.
Right, not an internet boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
That you're going to tell him all of your secrets and no video chatting and, in the middle of the night and having, sexting. No,
right.
It would have been just like her blog, like,
right.
Hey guys, it's Gypsy, and just say hi.
Right. And I think that would have been, I think Dee Dee could have definitely told her, well, that's the only relationships you're going to have. You can have relationships, but they're not going to be real. They'll be on the internet. And I can even see her, convincing her mom, hey, what if I were to do this or that, because I've heard of crazy things like people pay $500 for somebody to hold a banana between their feet, like nothing else. There's no sexual anything in it. It's just, oh yeah, take a picture of you holding a banana between your feet. I'll pay you $500. I could definitely see them being on board for that. Like that would be okay. But no, I don't.
Somebody hook me up with that.
Right.
Like,
I used to have a guy that I would sell 12 pictures of my feet for $50.
Christina, send me his email.
And his girlfriend used to pay me.
Whoa, that's so weird.
Crazy.
Isn't that fascinating?
Gypsy did this while she's been in prison. There was a guy who started writing her, and he asked her for a picture. And so she sent that a signed picture, and one of the ex-inmates was who facilitated that. She sold it to him and supposedly put money for, Gypsy. And then the young lady kept some of it for her, quote unquote, Gypsy's godchild. So there was that. But then he asked for her panties at one point in time. And, and she's like, I don't know if I should do it or not. Of course you should not do it.
Like, no.
Definitely don't do that, So, I mean, I can see that this might have been something that she had done previously, and that would have been fine, because again, like it would have just played into the fraud, of, oh, I am taking care of this poor disabled girl. And so I'm sure there's people that's their fetish, like a disabled kid,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, I don't even want to know the bowels of the internet.
Right.
And,
the dark web. Yeah.
Yeah, like the creepiness and the pedophilia and people wanting girls to look like little girls.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Oh, sure.
I mean, at that point in time, I almost see it like a bartering system between them. Like, well, if you want me to go to this doctor's appointment and sit quietly and go along with you, then you're going to let me go on the internet. Right. And I think that's where that Facebook page comes into play, where she had Rod on the Facebook page, and she communicated with him on that Facebook page, because how would she get away with that if you have your dad on the page? That's never going to come up. Like, well, Dee Dee, you said that she has the mentality of a 7-year-old, but she added me on Facebook the other day and we had a chat, and she seems perfectly fine.
Right.
So how, either Dee Dee had to know that she was on the internet on her own Facebook page, Or Rod was keeping that secret and is now acting like he didn't know anything about it, but it's out there. The
But
picture
it's
is
out
out
there.
there.
Yeah.
You know,
No, there was
where
actual
Rod puts up a picture and Gypsy comments, "I love you guys both so much."
Right. There was communication, and that's again why I don't buy the fact that she couldn't have, that she couldn't have gone to her dad because she was scared and she didn't know her dad. No, that's bullshit because you talked to your dad on Facebook. So no, sorry, try another one.
Right, like, oh, you're scared. I mean, but you tell the autistic boy up in Wisconsin all your problems for a few years. And you could tell him, but you couldn't tell anybody else in the world.
Right.
Yeah, the guy from the convention, you tell him.
Yeah. You tell the guy at the convention, the other guy from the other, the other convention. You can tell Nicholas, and you can tell a variety of other people, I'm sure, on the internet. But you can't tell Aaliyah, who's right there next to you, or you can't tell your dad, who's right there on the internet with you, or that you talk to. No, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. That's why when I first got the case, I didn't want to believe any of that. But the more and more we've looked at it, the more and more it has become clear that there were other options, and she didn't choose those other options.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't know if it was, I just want all of this to go away forever and ever. Amen. I know she'll never let go of me. I don't know. I mean, there's reasons, but
well, and for that, like, I can't even like totally judge her.
No.
If she had just gone about it another way, like, I can't, like,
no,
100%.
Right. I mean,
Well, me and Nancy were talking about this the other day with Nicholas, but it also applies for me to Gypsy. Two of the things that have my view on Nicholas and Gypsy as it is the way, the planning and the way Dee Dee was killed.
Yes.
If one day Gypsy would have gotten her hands on a gun and just turned around and shot Dee Dee, or if she would have met Nick and said, look, my mom is keeping me in this wheelchair. I'm never going to be free. She's going to keep me like this, locked up. She does this to me. I need your help. I need you to get a gun. I need you to get on a bus tonight, and I need you to help me. And Nick did that, and he went there and he shot Dee Dee and killed her and grabbed Gypsy and ran. I could almost, it's not a justification, but I could almost say, you know what, Nick can be rehabilitated. And Gypsy really shouldn't have went to jail if that was the situation where one of them just came and just shot Dee Dee. But the plotting and the brutal way that she was murdered, that's what makes me feel the way I feel about both of them. Absolutely. In terms of Gypsy needs to do this 10 years and maybe more. And Nick doesn't ever need to be a free man, ever.
And truthfully, Gypsy should have gotten way more. Like we've talked before, Mike was brilliant in what he did.
Oh yeah.
And we will go into more detail in that in a couple, later episodes. But no, I definitely agree. It's the planning that is the problem for me. The planning. Yeah. If she had just even took insulin and, overdosed her mom on insulin through, her medication at night or what have you, that would have been, her mom's asleep, go in and hot shot her with a whole thing of insulin. Okay, that would have made sense to me. But the way that it was done, the planning for 2 years and then, going on and the brutality of it. Oh, well, a stabbing is quiet. Really? A stabbing is quiet? That's your reasoning?
That kind of stabbing.
I know, that was not
stabbing. That could not have been quiet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way. Especially the amount of stab wounds and the shallow stab wounds,
and then the back of the neck. I mean, we're gonna go a lot of that in when we get past the. We'll talk a little bit more about Springfield coming up, and then we're going to do some medical stuff through Springfield. Obviously, then we'll go definitely into details about the murder and beyond, because that murder, it's not just a murder. I mean, it is brutal. It is really brutal. And that to me is the difference here. And I truly believe that, Gypsy should have gotten much, much longer, especially considering everything we know now. At the time, I can understand how Mike was able to convince them to do 10 years, but going forward,
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back.
What if you could be a true crime detective right from the comfort of your own home. Dispatch is an interactive serial mystery that unfolds over several months. Imagine the experience of an escape room in your own home, a new kind of escape called Dispatch. It's a subscription box that is a step apart from everyday entertainment, better than a book, more engaging than television. Think of it as an immersive mystery where you wear the detective hat.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The story begins with the first delivery, or dispatch, if you will. In it, you'll find physical clues that lead you to the web and back to the real world to unravel a mysterious crime. Grab a friend, the whole family, and your thinking cap, and get ready to put your heads together for one mind-bending ride, as additional details are revealed with every package. Check out the description for a special link to grab your dispatch box today and start your own true crime detectiving. We absolutely love hearing from our listeners, and we'd like to invite you to send us a question for us to answer or a case you'd like us to cover. You can do this in two different ways. You can send us a message right here at anchor.fm/truecrimewives, and we might play it live in one of our next episodes, or you can drop us an email at goodwivesdish, that's DISH, @gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
On to Nick Godejohn.
On to Nick Godejohn. So,
Welcome,
Nick,
Wisconsin.
Right. Well, Nick Godejohn arrives on the scene here. And I don't know. It seems like it started out innocent enough, but I think that it really was the perfect storm. Like, that's one of the things I've said from the very beginning. It was two very highly damaged people who found damaged pieces of each other, and that's it. It just created this perfect storm for what happened. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's there's like fate works in mysterious ways, and I, as much as I Nick did terrible things, like I also feel sympathetic towards him because he's got his own backstory. And
yeah, and I do now. I didn't in the beginning. I do now, based on the different things that we've learned about him and his family. We've learned a lot about his mother and his father, and I think that they play an insane amount of piece into this, of who Nick becomes and how all of this goes down, And so she meets Nick on a Christian dating site of all places. And that's one of the things that I think is really funny, because people are like, oh, she's looking for a hitman by night. I'm like, guys, she didn't go to hitman, she wasn't even in an alternate community like alt.com or BDSM Finder or whatever the heck it is. No, she goes to a Christian dating site, for crying out loud.
meets the devil in a Christian dating site.
Right, exactly. And I think that that's kind of, I think he felt like he could prey on those girls, and
that was why he was looking at that, because he had several other dating profiles. They're very scary dating profiles. And then there's the Christian dating site. And I think that he thought maybe he could just prey on poor little Christian girls, and
Well, that's why with the perfect storm, they definitely were the perfect storm, but that's what makes me feel like, and we talked about this before, I'm curious to see what Colleen thinks, but I don't think she came across the perfect match to create the perfect storm on her first try.
No.
So I think, and I wonder like how many different men she tried to get to know and feel out to see, is this someone that I can lay this on? And it was like, okay, no, this person is definitely not going to go for killing my mom, and then move on to the next person. And then she met Nick, and it was like, okay, well, he wants to protect me. He's a protector. And, they got into the different discussions with the personalities and the good and the bad. And it was like, okay, jackpot.
Right. I mean, because anybody that hears, oh, well, I'm a 500-year-old vampire who likes to kill people. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I am a not sick kid who pretends to be a sick kid who'd really like her mother to be dead. We're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
Right. It was like so because this felt like it was a relationship that was like whirlwind romance, and within 2 months he came down and killed her mom.
No, it goes on for 3 years.
Yeah. 3 years you're sexting and FaceTiming this boy,
right?
Feeling him out for the whole thing, like, and you're provoking it, like, you are, this really needs to happen, and you're gonna save me, and
well,
you're so strong.
And I think the catalyst for that really was the meeting didn't go well. The fact that they tried that option was to meet her mom and do all of that. And there's plan A and there's plan B and plan C, and one of the plans was to get her pregnant. And, one of the plans was to meet Dee Dee and she would like him. And of course, and here you got to give props to Dee Dee. She had his number from the second she met him, she's like, that guy is crazy. I don't want anything to do with him. I stay away from my daughter, and I'm sure I do believe that Dee Dee knew about Nick. I think that was a source of constant arguments in the house. I think it's why things got out of control like they did. And I think it's part of the reason why Dee Dee wanted to leave and restart over, because I think she thought that she could take her away and they would disappear in some way, and Nick would never find them again, and she would be wiser this time. She wouldn't let her on the internet, and she wouldn't and I do believe, like we've said repeatedly, that 2015 someone was going to die. I truly believe that was coming down. We have talked about the shed with Diana, which we're going to do a bonus episode with Diana. You'll get it here at the end. Diana is one of our psychologists, and she talks about a lot of different things that from a psychological point of view, but the shed is an interesting piece of this. And, there are three sheds in total on the property. And, this one is different than the others. It's like, again, one of these things is not like the others. It is decorated like a child's room, and it's all rainbow colored, and there are glowing stars from the top. And when you think about that, you're like, oh, that's really cute for a kid's playroom. And then you think about the fact that when they got there, Dee Dee, Gypsy was already 17 years old, and that there's no reason that she would need a playroom, quote unquote. And then you look further in, and when we found these pictures, I wasn't even the first person to see them. It was one of my very good friends, Whitney, who worked on the team with us for a while. She found them and she sent it to me, and she said, Fancy, have you seen this? And I said, well, no, what is that? And she goes, that's on the property. And I said, what do you mean that's on the property? And she goes, that's on the property. There's a ramp that leads up to it. And look at this. And I said, okay. And then I began looking at these pictures, and I mean, when you first look at it, yeah, you see that picture and you're like, oh, that's really cute. And then you start looking
deeper at the picture, and there's a toddler bed, and it doesn't have any bedding on it, and then there's a bucket, and this is all that's in this room. The shed is really completely barren except for these few things. The other sheds are packed full, but this shed is not packed full. And so there's the toddler bed. There is a bucket that has some weird toddler bedding in it. Then there is, if you look further and you blow the picture up more and you look at it more and more and more, inside this bucket is zip ties, like a shit ton of zip ties, not like a regular amount of zip ties that any person would need. There are a shit ton of zip ties. There's some cording in there that like is long. There is a box fan in the window. There's one light, and then there's something that has like a I don't know, a cabinet of some sort, and that's all that's in this shed. And we've talked about it before of what that picture meant to us when we all looked at it, and it was definitely jarring for me. And then I showed the team, and the reactions were unbelievable.
Those pictures, when we realized what they were, made it like at first glance. I remember, passing through the photos, and I didn't think anything. Like I didn't even realize what the shed was. And then when we actually looked at them, it was so hard to look at them after that. Like,
yeah.
Scrolling through the photos, I would after that try not to look at them because it is just creepy.
Super creepy.
Well, because what purpose is, it's not just like, it's not a decoy. Like there's stuff in there that really had no business being there, but to be put there for that purpose.
Right.
And it was a big property. Like this was one of 3 or 4 sheds on this property.
Yeah, it's the third shed. Like I said, the other 2 were jam-packed with regular things that you would find in a shed, but this one was not. And if you ask, now I asked Gypsy about it, or I had Christy ask Gypsy about it. I had not told Christy why I was asking. I did not tell Gypsy why I was asking. And the story I got back was exactly what I thought I was going to hear. And it was that she used to be locked up inside this shed and chained or tied to that toddler bed, and she couldn't get out. She couldn't go anywhere for days. Her mom would give her a bucket to go to the bathroom in, and that is exactly what this looks like. And she said she had cleaned it out, and that back room that they talk about in the police report where they can't open the back room, everything that was in that shed had been put in the back room within a month or 2 of Dee Dee's death, right before. So I really think something really terrible was happening. I think that was a final resting place. I definitely think that it was being used as a control mechanism to continue to keep Gypsy doing what she wanted her to do. And I think that probably where Gypsy would have, had her end if she had not taken Dee Dee's life and if she had not complied.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Munchausen by proxy is something that's not as reported because usually the victim dies. This is a case where it was the opposite. The victim killed or participated in killing the perpetrator.
Right.
And it was Dee Dee or Gypsy. It was one of them was gonna die.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's no scenario where Nick would have shown up and she would have just been able to leave with her. Unless I think that they were not, neither one of them had the capacity. Yes, they planned this murder. They planned it poorly, let's be honest. They weren't smart enough. They're smart. They're both smart in their own ways, but they're not smart in the workings of the world. And I think that's where we end up in the scenario that we're in with this, of that, Nick didn't think about, well, we could just go somewhere and never show up again. Like, that could happen. Another person would have thought that out. Another person, and this again goes back to the perfect storm, if she had met anyone else, I don't think we would have had this if there had been anybody else that was willing to save her in a way.
Yeah.
They could have said, well, yeah, let's get on a bus and we'll get off at whatever exit and no one will know that we got off on this exit because it won't be the exit that we were supposed to go to and they'll never find you. Or let's get in a car and we'll drive to Mexico or Canada or what have you. But no, I mean, that's not what happened.
And you can really clearly, when we talk about the murder later, that you're going to see that.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Both of these people are not well-educated social beings.
No.
Where that, after the murder, they go to a hotel where they're visibly seen. They go to breakfast visibly seen. They have to, they go to the bus station, didn't have the right bus tickets, go back to the same hotel.
Right. I mean, it was obviously not planned well, as people would like to think, for 3 years.
Murder weapon to his house.
Hilarious. I find that hilarious. Like, what? Well, you were like, okay, we're just going to mail it. We're going to mail it and some money to the house. Nobody's going to know.
And the thought process behind that baffles me. Absolutely baffles me. Like, oh, well, we didn't want to take it with us on the bus because we thought that there might be
metal detectors.
There might be metal detectors. Okay. Well, I do believe that there was periods of time between the murder and the bus. Like, you couldn't just go and throw it in a dumpster behind Walmart when you were buying your condoms. I mean,
right.
You couldn't throw it in a lake or nothing. It never registered. Oh, let's just mail it home to you and then we'll get rid of it. What?
Right, like, oh, it's going to be in a different state. Nobody's going to look for it. No, that's exactly where they're going to look for it.
Now, you know what, though, guys? And I have, and this is me thinking right now. I have not had this thought before this until we said it right now. And I wonder, what if that was Gypsy thinking as a Hail Mary of something to have to tie him to this if she was really going to put it on him?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I kind of thought it was stupidity on both their part, but maybe not. Not on her part. Maybe not.
I mean, she is much smarter than she lets on.
She is.
And so, right, it could have been like, well, I'm with you, so if we get caught together, I might get caught, but you're going to have the murder weapon at your house. Your fingerprints are on it. Mm-hmm. You came to Missouri to come get me. Poor me, woe is me, which is really what happened.
Right.
But, right, mailing the weapon, Hail Mary.
I mean, we can sit here and we can say that she did a terrible job of planning this murder, but then again, I don't know that she did. I mean, it can go either way. There's a case for, oh my God, these are two really, really inept people that really, while being extremely smart, no common sense, no education, neither one of them had good education. Nicholas was in a lot of special education classes, and so he didn't get, high level of education. He got basic education to get him through. And obviously he was not worldly, neither was she. She got no education whatsoever. Okay, but then you think to it and you think about what ends up happening, and I just wonder if that wasn't a plan of hers as a backup forever. Like, I think I think there's no way on earth, and I'm sorry, I don't care how naive, how much into fantasy you are, how much you think that all that stuff is true, the good guy wins and the bad guy dies and Mother Gothel falls to her death. I don't care how many things of that you do. When somebody says to you, I'm a 500-year-old vampire who likes killing people, you don't just go, yeah, that makes sense. It does not, there's no realm where a person that has any intelligence, and she is intelligent enough, that would be logical.
I mean, it was definitely going to be he's going to fall for whatever I'm going to tell him.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get to a point where it's going to come time, and he's going to do it. If I tell him to do it, he's going to do it. And I know that I might have to sacrifice a little bit of my time, but he's going to get the major blame, and I'm going to get out of this.
Right.
And
I mean, I think it was either we're both going to get away, or I'm going to get away. Like,
yep.
I do believe that was the thought process. I don't think there was I don't think she believed they would run off and live happily ever after. I don't. I think maybe in the beginning she did, and then he got crazier and weirder because you can see it through the text messages, and you can see her even question it in the text messages. And so I do believe that there, at some point in time, she was like, well, it's either me or him. It's going to be him. Like, he's the one that's going to go down for this, and I'm going to put every piece in place for him to do so.
Yep.
What do you think?
Well, as soon as she realized that the detective wasn't buying her bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
It was then like, well, Nicholas didn't like my mom, and they didn't like each other, and she was like basically out of it. It's between my mother and Nick, so I don't know what the hell happened. That was between them.
And see, I don't think that was spur of the moment. I think that was plotted in her head.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was plotted in her head. I think she had, just as she had with him, plan A, plan B, plan C, I think she had her own plan A, plan B, plan C. And I didn't used to think that, but I do now,
Yeah.
But the shed, going back to it just for a minute here, the shed, it was really telling as to what was going on and how quickly it was barreling to a very bad point for one or the other. And it's polarizing. There will never be a moment where I don't think about that shed. Like, it haunts me thinking about that day of finding that picture. I know it haunts Christina.
Yeah. It's hard looking at it.
It is. It is one of the things where I'm always shocked by it, no matter how many times I see it. It will never be something that I can go, oh, okay, I can look at the stab wounds on Dee Dee faster and more easily.
Yes.
Look at that shed.
Yeah.
Because the shed is like something out of, what you think of as a predator having for a child that they're going to kidnap, or, it's not for, it doesn't look like just a normal playroom that a kid would want. I remember asking my grandfather for something similar, and instead I got a damn tree house because I had 2 boy cousins, and they thought a fort house was great with no fucking lid to it, which meant that the tree that had like tons and tons of little shit things all fell down in there, and who got to sweep that up? Oh, me, not my cousins. I wanted a playhouse in a shed, but did not get that. But it's still not what I would have asked for if I had wanted a playhouse in a shed. I wanted like a little house, not like, I don't know. It was just like some very juvenile room of like something that a 5-year-old would want. You know?
Right, not an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah. No.
Not even an 18-year-old disabled girl.
No. Because she's not mentally disabled. She has no mental disability whatsoever. And whether you want to say that she had the mentality of a 12-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 15-year-old, I don't freaking know. That's not what she's asking for. That is not what no.
Nope.
Not at the time period that it was put into place. I don't
Absolutely not.
All right, wrap up.
I mean, my oldest niece is 12, and if I showed her those pictures, she would be like, Dee Dee, I'm not a baby.
Right.
Like,
exactly. I'm not a baby. I don't want that. I want like,
yeah.
I want a house where I can go and be away from you guys.
Yeah,
Right?
and hang out and do my Instagram beauty videos.
Right, my beauty poses with my Instagram, and I can hang out with my friends. And yeah, no, but no, not that. Definitely not that. That is literally for like a 4-year-old. It just, I don't even know a 4-year-old that might have liked it really, but a
Well,
4-year-old.
my younger nieces are twins and they're 7, and they would be terrified of that.
Right.
Yeah, they would be terrified by that shed.
Yes, because it's not even like what you would think of for like a little kid to have a fun time. It's nothing like that. It doesn't.
Yeah, but when you think of like this bright, when you describe it like, oh, it's painted in these bright colors and it has the glow in the dark stars, you think of almost like this little enchanted place for a girl to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty and bright, but when you see it, it's like ominous. It's like dark, and even with the colors, it's just like a dark, gloomy place. And then when you realize there's really no lights in there, there's a lamp, but I don't know.
It's a janky lamp at best.
How much light is that giving her?
Oh, and you got to think about in the summertime, it's going to be hot in there. In the wintertime, it's going to be freezing ass cold in there. When was this kid going to be out there in that playhouse?
It's just, it's haunting.
It is
haunting,
extremely haunting. And then you put that with the text message to Nicholas that says, my mom made me sleep outside with the bugs last night. And then you look at that damn thing and you think to yourself, there's bug bombs in here that have been set off. That's interesting. And you think about the fact of like, well, how would she have slept outside on the back porch with the bugs and nobody noticed her? Oh, okay. She was in that damn shed, if anything, and I do truly believe that was a place that she was kept. I truly do believe.
Well, that's another thing. When it's like a little playhouse, I could see like a little girl having like a big doll house and whatever dolls and their other toys. But who puts a toddler bed in a playhouse for even a 12, 13, 14? Like, who would put that there? She wasn't in there. To me, that means it wasn't like a fun place to play during the day when it was nice outside and mom was maybe doing gardening.
Right, where you would have had like a half door that one part of it would have opened up, and no.
It's not as, it's not like you're having, 6 girlfriends stay over, slumber party.
She wasn't allowed to do that. So
right, because I did that with my girlfriends. Like one of my best friends, like when we would do sleepovers, she had one of those giant trampolines, and like we would put sleeping bags and blankets and pillows on the trampoline and sleep underneath the stars.
Yeah, Abby just went to that. One of my daughters just went to that too. She just went to something, and then the grandfather met us, and he was like, "Hey, we just want to show you this. It's a she shed. We want you to see it before, so that you think you don't, understand when she says I slept in the shed last night. It's not, the shed, right? And it was beautiful inside. It was gorgeous. It was everything a teenager would want in there. It was TV in there. They had every, little fairy lights, and it was beautiful and nice plush thing on the ground. It was cute. But this is not that. This is very barren, very ominous, very dark. You look at it, and the second you see it, ooh, that's not a good place. It's not a good place. You can just feel it coming off the pictures. And those pictures will be in our Patreon account. We are not releasing all of the crime scene photos that we have just out of respect, but some of them we have that have not been out in the public before we'll be releasing into our Patreon account for you guys to look at. And the shed pictures are some of those that we'll be putting on there. So
don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. Every great podcast needs a great website. Currently, our mother company, Mad Ginger Entertainment, is building their website using Bluehost. Bluehost is one of the best and most affordable web hosting platforms available. Plans start as low as $2.95 a month, and you can even integrate it with WordPress. So if you need your own website or affordable web hosting, grab our discount link in the description and get your podcast a bigger presence online at low costs.
Bonjour, bonsoir, mon ami. Hey guys, it's me again, Cajun Mama Ty.
here with another Cajun French word of the day. As we leave Louisiana and dive deep into the Missouri files of the Gypsy Dee Dee case, we had so many moments as a team that we were almost left speechless. As we researched the medical files, it brought us to Aurora, Springfield, and Kansas City, and back to Springfield again. There were so many moments as we flipped pages that we just didn't know what to say. The phrase I always said was the Cajun French phrase of the day, pour l'amour de Dieu. Pour l'amour de Dieu is a Cajun French phrase translated for the love of God. It's a phrase that Cajun people use instead of curse words or even not knowing what to say. And you just have that moment of, oh my goodness. We don't like to use the Lord's name in vain or break one of the 10 Commandments as a Cajun. But looking at these medical files, I couldn't think of any other phrase to use but pour l'amour de Dieu. And to say the least, it's a lot better than some of the words that some of my teammates were using, like OMG or WTF, and we know what those words are. So I just wanted to say, when you have those moments where you don't want to use the Lord's name in vain, but yet you still feel like you need to, pour l'amour de Dieu, for the love of God, is an awesome phrase to use.
So I know tonight we talked a lot about our time in Missouri here, from talking about the Hope Lodge and how it was just a monumental lie and convincing all of the people at the Hope Lodge that Gypsy could stay there and finding a doctor.
It was ballsy is what it was.
It was really ballsy. This dentist / doctor to say that she was being treated, but she never really was treated, ever. And she just stays there. But then we have that lull time period in 2006 where we don't really have anything. And it's just absentee. And then once about 2007 hits, that's when we start seeing our friend Beckerman again. And they're, renting a house for a little bit, but then we get the pink house. The Habitat house is built, and by the sweat of other people to build that house, and then use their, what did you call it, Christina? Sweat hours.
It's sweat hours. Yeah, they're called the sweat hours. Mm-hmm. And like I said, not just the sweat hours for that specific house, but then they went ahead and did the sweat hours that Dee Dee and Gypsy were supposed to do for their payment for the house, which they didn't. So they didn't even do their part to pay for the house.
And then we tackled your fun rumors, some of them, but regarding the walking around the neighborhood and using a bus pass to go and wander around town and sleep with God knows how many people.
Yeah.
Which completely debunked that one, guys. No way as this.
No.
And a lot of people call her like an elf-looking girl walking around town.
Every time we think of it, I just laugh harder because what?
I just pictured the elf on the shelf with Gypsy's face.
Oh my God, no. You've ruined it now, Christina.
Well, you know what? I've never been too crazy about that stupid elf. So.
Oh, the elf was always terrible because you know what? I love the elf. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very cute, and I think other people are extremely creative in what they do with the elf. But no, not me. And then there was so many times that I would end up in bed, and at 3:00 in the morning, I'd jolt up and be like, "Oh shit! I didn't move the elf." And try to move the elf. Or there were times where we would get up and we'd all come downstairs, and I'd look and I'd be like, "Oh, the elf didn't go. Damn it!" And I'd have to make a story of why the elf didn't move.
From what I've been reading online, apparently when the elf doesn't move, when you forget to move the elf, you tell your kids it's because they're not behaving, and the elf is not going to.
Oh. Well, I did not know that. Damn it. That would have been helpful to know. Although my kids have always been pretty good. So I don't know. They argue about dishes, but anyway, yes. So the elf on the shelf is wandering the street.
Yeah, she's not doing it. No way is Dee Dee letting her out of that house like that more than once ever.
Something that we didn't even talk about too is, okay, so yeah, the neighborhood would have recognized her, but here's the thing, that it would have never happened over and over again, because Dee Dee, there's no way. First of all, there's no way that she could have drugged her that many times, I don't think, and Dee Dee not realize what the hell was going on. But certainly not that people have tried to say, well, Dee Dee knew what she was doing and that she didn't have as much control. Are you shitting me? There is no way she is letting that kid out of the freaking house to blow the fraud that she is, millions of dollars worth of fraud that she has committed. Fuck that.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's not happening. No way.
Happening.
Well, yeah, I think Gypsy got all of her freedom was inside of her house, and that's the reason the windows were covered.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was the max.
That was Gypsy's freedom.
Yes, and that makes sense because she's got 5 wheelchairs in there. But if you look at the crime scene photos, there's no way a wheelchair is getting around anywhere in there, at all, not at all. That's why there's 5 of them, so that way she can be like, oh well, she's in this one or she's in that one, but she doesn't have to really move them around. They just sit where they are, But that house was just a clusterfuck of mass
hoarding, just nasty. Thank God Gypsy turned the AC down when they bolted out of that house.
Yeah, because not only did the smell of Dee Dee, but did you see all the plates in the sink and all this nastiness, and then think about the cats. I don't know what the hell she did with the cats. She said she left the cats inside, which that is crazy to me.
Cats eat people when they're dead.
Cats eat people when they're dead. So I don't know. But it was said that the door was closed. David Blanchard says that it was closed. That's why he didn't see her body. Question mark.
Right. Who even knows? But seriously, thank God she turned the AC on.
Yeah.
Because it would have because what month was the murder committed?
July. June.
Hot.
It was hot.
Yeah, right. Hot with dead body and cats litter not being changed, and then just the cluster of grossness of the hoarding, all the garbage in the house, dirty dishes. Makes me want to vomit. Probably really gross.
You know what? I remember, I think it was either the murder was on either June 9th or June 10th.
It was June 9th.
They found her on June 14th.
Yes. It was June 9th. You're right, Christina. And that was the anniversary of Emma's death too. It was very close in proximity to her mom's death of Emma, which was weird. It was very kind of creepy.
Is weird.
It was spooky and weird. So I guess maybe they all get the idea to murder people in June. I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah.
But the rumors debunked, and then I hope we kind of started talking briefly about Nick and Gypsy's internet dating life. Mm-hmm. It's very short intro because we're going to talk a hell of a lot more about that when we get closer to leading up to the murder.
Right.
We brought you into the shed. If you are on Patreon, and you can get access to some of the photos and really get to see that shed, give your own opinions about it, and what you think your interpretation of the shed is,
right?
And Gypsy's dating life as well. You can always feel free to give us an email, or at, what is our email, Fancy?
goodwivesdish@gmail.com.
Any questions about the case we talked about tonight in the last episodes, or you want to hear us really make sure we want to touch on it, in our future episodes, feel free to send us any questions. If you are on, it's on any of our ones, I've done a very long response to several questions that were asked.
Right.
And very personalized. So feel free to give us a shout out.
Feel free to give us a shout. And
You're in my head, Colleen. You're in my head. I was just about to say that. One of the things that we love is when people message us with questions or their theories on something. And we've actually heard a lot of interesting theories from people outside of the case that just following along and thought of something that could actually be very credible.
Right, and we're starting to get to a point now. We're hitting towards the end of this case here, guys, into the murder and what happens afterwards. And we're wrapping it all up. So definitely, if there's anything else you have questions about and would like to know, please, by all means, send it to us. And currently, through January 1st, we'll be picking a winner on January 1st to win one of our exclusive Good Wives wine tumblers for the best 5-star review that you put on Apple. So give us a shout out over there and give us a listen. And if we choose yours, then you'll get one of our cool little wine tumblers. But I think that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. We do have some really cool things coming forward. We're going to do a couple more medical stuff. We'll get into the murder, the aftermath, the plea deal, the next trial, and then our final thoughts and ideas on this. But we also have... Okay, so we do have some bonus episodes coming up. They're really going to be some interesting things. We may have we're going to have the jailer, and we've put that on our YouTube before, but we want to make sure you guys get it here too. The first responder, and she was also worked the pod that Gypsy was in. She had some interesting things to tell us. We are also in the process of interviewing the Munchausen by proxy expert from
the American Professional Society for the Abuse of Children, and they have written plenty of articles, very scientific and backed and fact-checked, and they're a reputable source of information.
It's part of where we pulled a lot of our information from the episode that we did all about Munchausen by proxy in general. We pulled a lot of our information from some of their articles. So we're really excited about that. One of the things that we wanted to set out to do when we started this journey of creating by proxy and this YouTube channel and now the podcast is that we wanted to be able to educate people on Munchausen by proxy and some of the different platforms that we wanted to talk about. So this is the beginning of us doing that. And we're working on doing some charity work too with them for some of the charities that Dee Dee scammed, and giving back to them from working with the community and working with the experts to do some different things for that. So we're really excited about what we still have coming up. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get the full recipe shared tonight, inside documents and pictures from the case, bonus mini podcast episodes, live YouTube discussion, and an exclusive invitation to our discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check us out on YouTube at Murder by Design, where we're currently talking about a few different true crime cases, from bullying murders to serial killers. We dish it all.
Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.